It's live and in color.
Greetings, Lighthead here. And what a sorry topic this one is going to be. Even as I sat writing out this script about this dreary, desperate group of wayward imbeciles, I honestly gawped at how backwards the world has become, that I should even need to write something on this topic in the first place.
What is the world coming to?
How lost some of us have become. How like mewing cattle lost upon the moors. How, well, dumb. With a capital D. I speak, of course, of flat earthers. Back in 1849, a, shall we say, man, because the term scientist seems undeserved, called Samuel Rowbotham published a pamphlet.
But I can't read.
Because the internet wasn't a thing yet, kids. In which he declared to the world that, according to his own experiments, he believed the world more closely resembled a dinner plate. You'll note I said believed and not proved.
You can't prove anything.
He believed things like the sun is only 3,000 miles away and for some reason doesn't melt us like Nazi scum opening the Ark of the Covenant. The other main point to note about Rowbotham is that he was a deeply religious sort and, like most overtly religious people, tended to put conjecture before fact. So, not much of a scientist, really.
You're nothing but a jumped-up hack.
And, of course, given how many deeply ignorant people there are in the world, a large number of them jumped on the I reckon wagon.
I reckon.
A wagon whose wheels should long since have dropped off and yet continued to wobble comically along for the last 2 centuries and, ridiculously, has somehow become more stable and even picked up momentum in recent years. What the sorry eventuality which should never have occurred but nevertheless has, in the form of the Flat Earth Society.
Everybody here can agree on absolutely one thing, which is it is not a globe. First rule of Flat Club is you don't talk about Flat Club.
Even writing the title with capital letters felt so wrong. But one must observe good punctuation. Anyway, yes, the Flat Earthers.
Keep telling yourself that.
With rappers like Odd TV evangelizing to hundreds of thousands of subscribers.
No more living on a cartoon ball.
And YouTube channels like
Globebusters.
What a group of people to have coveted long since debunked theories so strongly. Even their internet presence is titled the Flat Earth Wiki, or FEW for short. Calling themselves the FEW is just another way of posturing their self-affirmed enlightened stance. It's akin to observing children establish treehouse clubs, believing themselves to be special in their exclusivity.
You're not welcome here.
An exclusivity which exists entirely in their heads. Doesn't it resemble madness? Not unlike the insane homeless man declaring the end of the world upon a ragged-looking sandwich board.
This is the end.
Or the toothless Dreg standing proud upon a soapbox declaring how the royal family are, in fact, alien lizards in rubber masks.
Oh my God!
These people have found in each other an echo chamber of the most vapid variety. How nice it must be to hear your clearly incorrect thoughts bellowed by your fellow ignoramuses. And no, it's not ignorami. Look it up if you don't believe me. When everyone around you says, "Oh, yes it is," then you've got yourself a little comfort blankie, haven't you? That's right. And it's exactly that level of attitude that causes these spreaders of ignorance to be quite so unshakable in their beliefs.
This disturbs me. Flat Earthers, we just can't go out anymore. I mean, we can't take people seriously. You know, I mean, I'm sitting in front of somebody who thinks that he lives on a spinning wet ball. He thinks water somehow or another can form a ball.
Now, water does this up there because a sphere has the least surface tension for any given volume.
You can't argue with a flat earther, can you? Belief is so much stronger than fact, isn't it? What? What? No, is the short answer to that one, but you can't go looking for logic in the minds of such people because, and here's the rub, they don't want to be wrong.
How do you explain time zones?
So if it's a close sun, it would be kind of like a spotlight. The time zones work because that local light, just kind of like a flashlight, doesn't light up the whole circle. It only lights up a certain part of the circle.
Try telling a child that Santa Claus isn't real. It isn't pretty.
Daddy, that's not even a real Christmas tree.
Well, Santa's not real either. So, go ahead. Let's chop this down. She had to find out sometime.
When a person is of a childlike mentality, and there are far, far more adults out there that have a childish mentality than you likely realize, they refuse to accept certain truths. Truths which, in their minds, are mundane. And therein lies the crux of this particular problem. We live in a world of awesome and overwhelmingly beautiful complexity, which we, in our self-importance, tend to overlook.
This goodly frame the earth seems to me a sterile promontory.
It's the most excellent canopy, the air. Look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire. Why, it appeareth nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapours. What a piece of work is a man!
And when we view the world as mundane, those with the weakest minds will reach desperately for Santa. Or, a flat earth, whatever. If you rise every morning and see nothing but grey skies, bills, politicians, disease, and all the other problems the world has to deal with, a small part of you will naturally sigh and say, wouldn't it be nice if the world were different? But the problem with these people is, they did exactly that and never stopped.
Stop.
Mike Hughes was a man with far too much time and money on his hands and because rules are rules, I have to say, ended his own life attempting to prove this ridiculous notion.
A well-known daredevil was killed in a rocket crash yesterday. His empty parachute is seen falling to the earth. Hughes was ejected from the rocket and he fell.
It's irresponsible to act in such a way. When we become grown-ups, we have a clear responsibility to act like one. To deny the obvious, to deny logic, common sense, and reason is to choose to play the part of the fool or village idiot. Thank reason that there will always be intelligent people who attempt to educate them. Case in point.
So the centrifugal force pulling things off this ball would be insane. A little butterfly can defy gravity.
So number one, gravity is the weakest universal force in nature. Number two, mass matters with gravity. The mass of a butterfly is tiny, the mass of the ocean. Thirdly, the centripetal force at Earth's surface is around 0.034 meters per second squared. Gravity, as we know, is around 9.8 meters per second squared, which is almost 300 times stronger.
Daniel Rourke there, aka Simon Dan, attempting to educate those desperately in need of an education. And while I lament that such education should even be necessary to give an adult, I applaud his resilience and patience. Well done, sir. And he's not the only one fighting the good fight.
What's your go-to debunking argument for Flat Earth?
I like to simply point out that every day there's a sunrise and a sunset.
You are spinning, flying through space, chasing this fireball. Your constellations would change every now and then. And our constellations have never changed.
Our constellations have changed.
Their go-to response when faced with things that kill their religion, like pictures from space, is, "That's fake. It's CGI. NASA means to lie in Hebrew and was founded by Nazis." Well, that's because flat earthers are all morons that have to deny space travel or their fairy tale falls apart.
Yes, the ground is disappearing from beneath the feet of the few, and it will continue to shrink. Imagine going to such lengths to rage so hard and so publicly against reason and fact, to spend not inconsiderable amounts of your own money only to end up in this comical situation.
Internet famous flat earther has gone all the way to Antarctica to put his theory to the test, only to be proven wrong. Gerard Campanella, who runs a popular flat earth YouTube show, hoped the $35,000 trip would disprove that. Instead, he saw firsthand that the sun does not set during this time, debunking the theory that Antarctica is just a big ice wall circling the planet.
$35,000. Oh dear, and even more embarrassingly, it's not exactly as though humanity has only just recently proved this theory.
No, it isn't.
A Greek mathematician and head of the Library of Alexandria called, say it with me, Eratosthenes, proved by simply putting a stick in the ground and measuring the shadow Okay, it was a tad more complex than that, but really, only a tiny tad. How awkward for the Flat Earth community that we've known without a doubt the truth of the matter for approximately 2,200 years, while the modern so-called experiments that they conduct today, using all those advancements in science and technology, are completely wrong.
Ooh. Ouch.
Now, I'm going to share something with you that I'd like you to hear out fully before you go jumping to conclusions. I'm afraid to say that once, not so long ago, I dated a flat earther. No, it's not that simple. I am not the sort of person who is inclined to simp or give up my values for the sake of a quick tryst. And the fact is that I was rather under the impression that this person was sane before I began dating them. They weren't sane as it stands, and I use the term they because I enjoy my every anonymity. But the fact of the matter is that people can surprise you. And that's not all. This person also confessed to me their belief that the royal family is, in fact, a race of alien lizards wearing rubber masks. Yes, that's right. They turned out to be the stereotypical toothless drag upon a soapbox. That was quite a stinging revelation, and not one I would wish upon any of you. And yes, the relationship ended quickly thereafter. And therein lies another rub. That these terrible, baseless, ignorant, and derailing ideas, not just about the Earth being flat, exist in so many of our minds.
What did you say?
How many little thoughts do you have that contain the potential to grow and infect your otherwise healthy mind?
1, 2, 3.
Little ideas implanted in us, usually in our youth, that we, for one reason or another, never expel. And while we would generally consider ourselves safe from such obvious madness as sincerely considering the Earth being flat, one can't deny the inherent dangers of these destructive seeds. It's such seeds which gave us people like Emperor Constantine, David Icke, Kanye West.
I could literally say anti-Semitic shit and they can't drop me.
When good sense is weak and fanciful thinking is permitted to run wild, the seeds of ignorance will grow and overrun the mind. An ugly image, and one that has caused far too much suffering over time, but the flat earthers live a particularly sad kind of self-inflicted suffering, as it's so obviously completely untrue, and therefore completely unnecessary to live that way. Should you be inclined to wish upon a world that defies common sense, then you are choosing to cheapen yourself. And unfortunately, in their efforts to believe so strongly in their fairy tale, they do a lot of damage to the rest of the world.
Hey kids, how you doing? Hey, the Earth is flat and not a ball like you're taught in school. Like it's flat. Tell people that the Earth is flat and outer space isn't real.
You're so stupid! 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 Stupid!
While I would argue in the right to live however one would wish, if you choose to live in such a way that damages others around you, particularly children, then I would argue that you need to be removed from civilized society until such a time as you can realistically demonstrate that you will no longer threaten young and impressionable minds with your sad, far-reaching idiocy. The world is a profoundly stupid place as it is, and we don't need such people muddying the already polluted waters, as my homeboy Joey Swallow would state.
You need to do better.
Give me the hard truth, Joey. Ultimately, I would advise on picking up a science book and actually reading it with an open mind, and to have the strength of character to give up on such childish notions as a world that can't make any logical sense and could not possibly exist anywhere in our strict and unforgiving universe. Or you will be doing nothing more than choosing to be part of the problem and not the solution. And if there's one thing we desperately need more of, it's solutions. You can subscribe.